Hey everyone, it's Mark Ferguson with InvestFourMore and welcome to another one of our complete before and after house flip videos. So if you have not seen these yet before, it is basically our attempt to make a house flipping show. So we go through the before video, show some of the repairs, the after video, and we talk about all of the numbers. So we talk about carrying costs, selling costs, financing costs, all of that the house flipping shows usually don't tell you about. And then we also talk about how we got the deal, how we financed the deal, and all the other little details along the way too, to try and give you the complete picture of how we actually flip houses. So I think this was my 201st house I ever flipped. This was a manufactured home. So some might call it a mobile home, a single wide, a double wide, whatever. Technically, it's a manufactured home, which I talk about as well in this video on what that means and what constitutes a manufactured home versus mobile home versus modular home. Lots of differences there. This is also a house we bought in 4 days. So it was a pretty quick one, a quick deal. We ended up buying it from some other investor friends of ours, and it turned out to be a great flip. So sometimes our flips do great, but not always. So you will see some flips we've lost money on in this series as well. And you can just go to our playlist for complete before and after house flips, and you can see all the other house flips we've done with the numbers like this. Now, just to start things off, we bought this for $156,000. It was in Greeley, Colorado. If you're wondering where we're at, sold it for $239,000. That's not a huge margin, not a crazy margin, but this was an easy flip, and that's why it turned out to be such a good one. All right, we'll get into the numbers. We'll show you the property, show you all kinds of cool stuff about this property. But first, of course, check out InvestFourMore.com for much more information on flipping, rentals, being an agent, wholesaling, all of that great stuff. I've written over 400 articles that are on the site that teach people how to do what we actually do. And we also have 9 books on Amazon too. So if you really want that in-depth information, ebooks, paperbacks, 4 of our books are in audio form as well if you want to check those out. And we do have some coaching programs too. If you're interested, you can always email me, mark@investformore.com, to get more information on those. All right, let's get started. Hey, it's Mark Ferguson with InvestFourMore, standing outside a house flip we just purchased. And this one is not the fanciest house we have ever bought, that is for sure. And it is not in the fanciest neighborhood we have ever bought in either. In fact, this is a neighborhood we have never bought a property in, even though it's really not that far away from my own personal house. But there's a mix of mobile homes, stick-built homes, and manufactured homes. And this is a manufactured home. We bought this for $156,000 from a wholesaler. Kind of a wholesaler. He's actually a flipper, pretty good acquaintance of mine. And they decided they didn't want to do this one. So they made some money, sold it to us. It's probably worth $230 fixed up. And we aren't going to have to do that much because yes, the yard looks like junk. The outside looks like a manufactured home. But properties that look exactly like that are selling for $230,000 in this neighborhood. And it's pretty tough to get much above that price point, even if you make it super fancy, unless it was stick built. So I mentioned this is a manufactured home. That means it was brought here in 2 pieces. So this was one piece. This was the other piece that they loaded on the back of a semi. They connected them in the middle, and they bring it to a lot, install the pieces together, put it on a foundation. So if it's on a permanent foundation and purged with the county, you can get financing on this pretty easily. It's really close to financing a regular property. If it hasn't been purged, if it's not on a permanent foundation, it's almost impossible to get financing. So this one is purged. It is with the county, and that was actually just done recently. So that is a really big thing to look at with buying these. We've bought some others before that weren't purged, and we had to go through that process. And it can take a while just because the county can be a little slow getting things like that done. So little roof leak there, but the roof was recently done, so that's supposed to be okay. You can see it's got some amazing wallpaper. Your manufactured home finishes, which usually are a step below the stick-built finishes. But, as I said, the competition looks like this too. So, we're probably going to spend $10,000 to $15,000 on this. That might seem crazy, but we're going to replace the carpet. We're going to paint, fix some of the minor trim issues, and that's about it. Maybe clean up the yard. We don't have to get crazy doing a bunch of other stuff. The kitchen, is not the fanciest either, but we're not going to go through and put a new kitchen in. We might paint these cabinets. We might replace the counters. I'm not even sure if we'll do that. We'll see. But you don't have to do a ton of stuff on these properties. This room here, as you can see, already has the carpet ripped out. So that makes it even easier for us because we don't have to rip it out and throw it in the trash. We are not going to do the windows. So we will just leave those. They're not the best windows in the world, but they're not broken. They're still here. They will work. It does have some huge closets, so that's nice. And this too, if you're wondering why it looks like this, these are panels. That is not real sheetrock or drywall. That's kind of like it's not cardboard, but real thin panel there, and they connect them with those. So another thing they do to make manufactured homes more affordable. But again, that's what our competition looks like as well. You could come through and you could re-sheetrock this whole house and spend like 10 grand, but it really won't increase the value that much. Don't know if I showed you that bathroom, but there it is. Again, the very cheap surrounds, but that's okay. You can see the high quality furnace and high quality cleaning job they did with the bungee cords holding that up. So we will have that checked out for sure. Hopefully that's okay. This property was built in either 2003 or 2007. We've been getting different stories. So it's not super old, but still a 15-year-old furnace could be bad if it wasn't being taken care of. Something else to check out is why you don't use, MDF on your trim, because this is what happens. You use exterior wood for trim and it lasts much longer. Has an amazing shed back here. Open concept shed. We had another house that was open concept for a while back before when we had the roof open. But there you go. That is an amazing shed. And not only that, but we have kind of a murder room shed over here, which is even more amazing. So here's kind of the murder room shed. It is kind of weird and a little scary. If you're wondering about that, it's a going joke. Every house I buy seems to have some kind of weird, dark, creepy room. The fence, we probably won't do anything with that either. Maybe put a picket or two back up, and that's it. So this will be a pretty simple, easy one, and it will be in a price range that is very hard to find any properties in, and that's why we don't have to do so much work. This was actually attached when I got here, but when I opened the gate, yeah, it didn't stay up very well. Hey, it's Mark Ferguson with InvestFourMore, standing outside a house flip that we are currently working on. I'm going to do another update on this house. We've done a few of them, but we're getting closer now. They're in the middle of painting right now. So I can show you what it looks like with everything masked off. This was a house we bought from a wholesaler, another flipper, for $156. Should be worth around $230, $225 when we're done. Spending very little on this, about $15,000 in work, and should be done fairly quick as well. So this is an easy one compared to most of what we do. We have from 10 to 20 flips going at one time, so it can be nice to have easy ones once in a while. Okay, so as you can see, this house is right in the middle of being painting. Sorry, the lights are all taped off, so it's a little dark in here. We did paint the cabinets, and they are masked off right now, and I might be annoying to our painters and pull some of them off so you can see what they are. Oh, I can pull these back pretty quickly. So they're like a grayish green. I don't know if it shows up in that tint, but it's just a tad bit of green tint to it. Mostly gray. They're kind of oak before, and we might have left them except they're beat up and they did need painted on the outside. So that is done. The flooring is already down, so that's all been taped off. And really, as soon as the paint is done, we're pretty much done with this property. All we did is a few touch-ups, painting the cabinets, redoing the floor. We are going to paint these countertops as well. No, they're not done yet. So there is an epoxy paint you can use on those counters. We've done it before, and it looks pretty decent. This is the master bedroom. Again, this is not actual sheetrock. We're in a manufactured home. It's kind of like cardboard panels, and they look like wallpaper, but you can just paint right over them. As you can see, if you have decent painters, it looks just fine. And then in here, we have the master bathroom. We're keeping the floor in here, did not even have to redo it. So masked off everything that we're gonna keep. This carpet we're obviously not keeping, so we didn't mask that off. I think we had to replace a couple doors, that was all. We did paint the outside as well. And then we have 2 more bedrooms back here. So you can see these are mostly painted too. But yeah, it should be a very easy flip. Not a huge amount of profit, but for how quick and easy it is, I'll take these all day long. And saving the bathroom, saving the shower surround, toilet, all of that. And you can see the doors. We did, I think we had to replace a couple of these doors. You can see they're slightly different. These are the old, these are Home Depot, 6-panel doors, which are pretty cheap. They put even cheaper doors in the manufactured homes. And that's something you'll find in these properties all over. They just go as cheap as they possibly can. Just like the trim is, an inch wide. And on the inside of the door, it has trim, but it's not even, doesn't have any design. It's just a flat piece of wood. Just anywhere they can, they save money to make these as cheap as possible. Hey, it's Mark Ferguson with InvestFourMore, standing outside a house flip we just finished up. This is a manufactured home, as you can see, which means it was brought in 2 pieces, has a metal frame on the bottom, but it's a HUD-approved manufactured home, so that it was built according to HUD standards, and it has a purged title, which means it is permanently attached to the foundation. And because of those factors, it will go FHA. You can get decent financing on this property. So like I said, we bought it for $156 from some other investors who went through the purging process and then decided to sell it, make some money, and not fix it up. We came through and did some real minor repairs, paint, flooring, painted the cabinets, actually used the epoxy paint for the countertops, light fixtures, put in a new dishwasher, I believe. It was white, it's actually stainless steel before, but we wanted to match the other white appliances that were here. Staged the home, as you can see, Nikki did that. And some minor cleanup. So we spent very little on this one, and we'll have another, $20,000, maybe $25,000 carrying costs, selling costs, and financing costs as well on it. But in this neighborhood, you really max out at a certain price. So even if we would have come through and redone the bathrooms, put in a brand new kitchen, put in sheetrock on all the walls, we probably wouldn't get much more than what we're getting with doing a minor rehab. So that's something to always know with your neighborhood and what comps will sell for. That's one of the biggest mistakes house flippers make, is they over-improve a house, put all this money into it, and think it automatically makes the house sell for $20,000, $30,000 more than the other. Oh, there's a piece of trim that needs put away. But they automatically think that makes their house sell for $20,000 or $30,000 more than the next highest comp in their neighborhood. But with appraisal conditions and different factors, a lot of times it won't sell for any more than other houses. So you have to be very careful with what you repair, what you don't repair. All right, in this property, we also could have gotten it done much faster. So it took us about right at 90 days. I think 90 days is tomorrow from when we bought it to when we're listing it. And there's something called the 90-day flip rule, which for FHA loans and a lot of conventional loans have adopted it as well. They say if you buy a house, fix it up, try to sell it for much more than you bought it for, the new buyers have to write their contract 90 days after the sellers bought the home. So that goes for FHA, some conventional loans. So if we had listed this 3-4 weeks ago and we got an FHA contract on it, which could be very likely in this price range in this neighborhood, we couldn't even accept that contract until it had been 90 days. So we would have had to accept a conventional loan. I need to get that cleaned up slightly. Just a few things we're noticing here. Oh, like that. But you cannot do FHA. So we actually had another house like that, the blue 4-level that many of you might remember, that we sold faster than 90 days. And that one we sold for $339. And those buyers wanted to do FHA, but because we listed it, that's a good month before the 90-day rule, they ended up going conventional. For a lender who did not care about the 90-day flip rule, they were able to still do the deal. But for a buyer who's going FHA, we would have had to wait a month or just not do the deal. So that's something to consider as well when you are flipping houses. And that rule does not apply to banks for foreclosures and some other situations. Just targets mostly house flippers. So here's the property. We'll get it listed here today. We might send our guy back just to a light bulb that needs put in there, another light that's not working, a few things that need touched up, as always. So get those done real quick. We have pictures already. It's already staged. And we'll see how it goes. If we get under contract right away, I think we will, because our median price in Greeley, where we're at, is in the 330 range, and at 240, there's almost nothing for sale that's as nice as this. It should sell quickly, and we can move on to our next flips. We have 10 or so going right now. I know it's not the fanciest house we've ever done, but sometimes the ones where we spend the least on and do the fastest are the ones we make the most money on. So have to be careful when you're doing all this that you're actually making a profit, or it doesn't make much sense to flip houses. All right, so you saw the house, you saw what it looked like, what it turned into. It was a fairly easy flip, which is why we made good money on this one. A lot of other ones that are much more involved, have much more profit margin, actually make less money because of all the costs. And a lot of those costs are carrying costs. And so this is something you don't always hear about, the carrying costs while we own this property. So while we own the property, we have to pay property taxes, we have to pay insurance, and we'll have utilities, right? Gas, water, electric are all on while we own this property. Those don't just disappear. And then we'll have some maintenance costs, right? Someone's got to mow the lawn. Someone's got to shovel the snow, if that happens to come up while we own the property. So what were those costs on this property? Again, this is a cheaper property, and because it was smaller and lower value, all our costs are less. So insurance, we owned the property 5.5 months from the time we bought it to the time we sold it. Insurance was $700 while we owned it. Taxes were super duper low, $400 while we owned it. Utilities, $1,200 for having the gas, electric on, and maintenance. We did have to mow the lawn some, do some maintenance there. So all of this added up to $2,600 while we own the property. Usually that's much higher on other more expensive properties, our more involved projects. All right, the next cost we're talking about are financing costs. Yes, we use loans on most of our flips because we can do more flips that way. We do from 20 to 30 flips a year. Usually this year we might do a few less than that actually. But if we're buying $200,000, $300,000 flips, we would need to have $3 million tied up in our flips to do that many flips because we have to have so many at once. So I'm much happier using that money to buy rentals and invest in other things than have it all tied up in my flips. So for this property, I used a private lender. A private lender is someone who I know, basically a friend, family member, other investor who randomly emails me, which happens because of my blog and YouTube, who want to loan me money, make an interest rate on the property. So we don't do equity share, but we will borrow money for like 9% interest, which is what we done this one. We borrowed 100% of the purchase price. I paid for the repairs myself, the other costs myself, and we paid 2 points. And points are basically an origination fee. It's a fee that a lot of lenders charge to do the loan. So even if you buy a regular house, there's probably some kind of origination fee. In the fix and flip private financing world, it's kind of called points. And basically it's a percentage of the total loan amount. So if you have 2 points and you borrow $100,000, you're paying $2,000, 2% of $100,000. So on this one, we had 2 points, 9% interest. That's what it added up to about after all was said and done. And the really cool thing about private financing and private money is there aren't all the other costs that come with hard money, other loans. So I've done hard money before, tried a number of different sources, have a video going over that. I'll try to link to it or just search for InvestFourMore finance flips, financing options. I have an article on it on InvestFourMore.com as well too. But they'll have processing fees, appraisal fees, draw fees, underwriting fees. I've even had them try and charge marketing fees. So there's all kinds of fees that come with that. So if you're doing hard money or other types of loans, make sure you know what all those fees are so you know the whole picture versus private financing. Sometimes private financing with a little higher interest rate is actually cheaper than hard money with a lower interest rate because of all of that. But on this one, $9,685 were our total financing costs. Pretty affordable considering the other factors with this deal. Now to the fun part, repairs. At least on this one, it was fun. I love the other flips we do, it's not fun. It's really sad. But on this one, our repairs were so minor. It's so nice. And that's one reason why we did so well in this flip, why it was done so quick. We literally had flooring. You know, we did some carpet, some of the laminate click and lock, paint inside, outside. We painted the cabinets. So that was a little extra. I think we painted the countertops on this one. So there's quite a bit of paint. Fixtures, replaced the lights, some of the doorknobs, some of that stuff. And then lots of miscellaneous demo. There's like a cabinet door we had to replace in the kitchen and fix. Just little stuff, some drywall patches, different things there, some trim here and there. But overall, this was a really easy one because it was purely cosmetic. We weren't redoing the roof, we weren't redoing the furnace, we weren't redoing all that other stuff. And we spent $17,000 on the repairs for this, which is way lower than we ever spent. I remember when I was doing this like 15 years ago, it seemed like, oh, we're gonna spend $15,000, $20,000 on the repairs here. It'll be a pretty involved flip. Right now it's like, oh, you spent $17,000? That's amazing. You must have done nothing to it. And that's the reality with how expensive materials are and everything. Repairs have gotten much more expensive over the years. All right, some more costs that are often forgotten about when doing flips are selling costs. You see on TV, oh, you just have an open house and you sell the house and it's done. That's how easy it is. You don't have to have agents or anybody else. People just come and buy it. That's not how it works in reality. We have selling costs. We have to pay a commission to another agent. I am a real estate agent. I own a brokerage. I still have selling costs because I pay another agent who represents the buyer because 95% of the time, another buyer will sell the house. We'll make more money that way. So $7,100 right there for that other commission. Title fees, we'll have title insurance, some other costs. When we sell the house, that's what happens in Colorado. Every state's different though. Some might have attorneys, some might have different title costs. That's kind of what our title costs are. And then miscellaneous, we'll have some closing fees, some flood certification fees, recording fees, things like that. So you have all of that that you need to consider when selling the property. There were not any buyer paid closing costs on this one, so that saved us some money. And then we're at $96.70 right there. If I do my math wrong, let me know. It's happened before. Not often, but once in a while. All right, now we get to the exciting part of the video. Hopefully the rest of the video has been exciting too, but maybe this is more exciting for you. Talking about the profit. How much did we actually make on this flip? Sometimes these are fun. Sometimes they're not so much fun when we don't do very well. This one was more fun, so that's good. We sold it for $239,000, bought it for $156,000, repairs $17,000, carrying costs $2,600, financing $9,600, selling costs $9,600 as well. Now I already did the math on this one, so you don't have to watch me carry my 3 and 4 or do the new math that people do. But this comes out to 44. Oh, put my comment. There we go. Can't even write a number right, let alone do math. $44,000 is what we made on this one. So this is a fantastic flip based on the amount of work we did to it, the time. It didn't take many resources, and I love doing this one. And this is kind of a perfect example of how less can be more. I know a lot of people will see this flip and say, oh, the yard looks horrible. You guys should have done the yard. or you should have redone the whole kitchen, or you should have, added a front porch, or you should have added a driveway. You should have done so much more. Why didn't you do those things? And it's because we didn't have to. And often those things won't even add more value, right? This price of $239 is the top, the maximum in that neighborhood. We're kind of actually worried it wouldn't appraise for that much. We get a loan, you have to get an appraisal that confirms value. And it could have easily appraised for $230 or $225. And in that case, any extra money you spend here on repairs, above and beyond that, is gone. It's wasted. You won't ever get it back. And if we would have added a porch or a driveway or more yard, we probably wouldn't have sold it for more than that anyway, just because that's the max that could be sold for in this neighborhood. All right, hope you guys enjoy this video. I love all the comments, the likes, so keep those coming. Please let us know what you think of these. They are difficult for us to do. That's why we don't do very many of them. It takes me a while to get all the numbers together, get the videos together, and do all of that. So it's much easier for me to just walk through a house and show you what's going on. So we will try and do more of these. I know we did a post recently, and I asked people what kind of videos they wanted to see, and the vast majority of you said you want more of this type of video. So if you want more of this type of video, make sure you comment more and like it more, and then that gives me motivation to do more of them too. All right, thanks for watching. Of course, check out InvestFourMore.com for much more information on our flips, rentals, being an agent, wholesaling, all of that good stuff, our books on Amazon, and I have a couple coaching programs too. If you're interested in those, please email me, mark@InvestFourMore.com. Another cool one we have is the Insider Club, where I do Ask Me Anythings, answer questions, have some different training in there. We have a cool little challenge leaderboard where people try and beat me as far as real estate activities, so that's fun as well too. All right, thanks for watching. We'll be back with much more soon.